The Bay Area mourning the loss of Berkeley-born Hersh Goldberg-Polin. He was being held by Hamas since being taken hostage on October 7th. John Ramos reports on a devastated Jewish community that says keeping hope is now mandatory.
Because of his East Bay roots, Hersh Goldberg-Polin has come to personify the hostage crisis in Gaza. But now, word of his murder at the hands of Hamas is testing the resolve of Bay Area people to maintain hope. Early Sunday morning, the message came with a black background. The family announced the death of their beloved Hersh, a 24-year-old fun-loving young man who was kidnapped on October 7th from the Israeli Music Festival. Aaron Katler is a longtime family friend living in Berkeley who was part of Team Hersh, working to bring him back.
It's not the way the story was supposed to end, or any of us thought it would. We all really believed until there was reason not to believe that he was coming home.
Reports are that 2 days ago, with Israeli troops moving in, Hersh and 5 other hostages were executed by their Hamas captors. Earlier, Hersh had been used to make a propaganda video by the terrorists, and his parents brought the Democratic National Convention to tears as they described the kidnapping of their only son.
Since then, we live on another planet. Anyone who is a parent or has had a parent can try to imagine the anguish and misery that John and I and all the hostage families are enduring.
Katler says Hersh's parents worked tirelessly to make the hostage crisis something more than a geopolitical fight.
John and Rachel made this a human and humanitarian issue. They made it real, and hopefully Hersh's memory and his legacy will be to make the world a better place and make that part of the world a better place.
There was a larger than usual crowd of people at the Lafayette overcrossing on Sunday morning. Yoav Harlev organizes the weekly demonstrations.
You know, hope is not optional, it's mandatory. And that's kind of how we're operating right now. You got to have hope. And these are real people with real lives and families waiting for them.
Despite the heartbreaking news about the 6 hostages, the demonstrators say they feel an obligation to the remaining hostages to stay optimistic.
I always have hope. You look at Hersh's mom. How can I, not having a child in captivity, say I don't have hope? That's unfair. So I am going to hope and keep showing up. I have to do it.
Yael Nivam Kirsht understands the crushing pain. 2 of her family members were kidnapped. Her sister-in-law was released, but her brother-in-law was murdered.
The remaining families that still have captives, they do not have the luxury of giving up hope on their family. And we are here today as a community to say we are not giving up hope. We're still standing together with you. We will stay with you until the hostages are back.
The hostage crisis, like the situation in Gaza itself, is a problem with no obvious answer. Does hope for their return lie in a military operation or a negotiated settlement? And how can anyone have much faith for a deal surrounded by so much inhumane brutality?
Hersh's former synagogue congregation, Beth Israel in Berkeley, will host a memorial service tonight at 7 o'clock. Governor Newsom released a statement saying held captive under brutal conditions, Hersh's story and the plight of other hostages was shared with the world through the brave and tireless advocacy of his family. We keep in our prayers all the victims and loved ones impacted by this heartbreaking tragedy.